Please join me in welcoming Jason Dockeray, the Executive Director of Lighthouse for Grieving Children and Families. Lighthouse is a compassionate organization dedicated to supporting children, youth, and families as they navigate the difficult journey of grief and loss. Tonight, Jason will share insights into the vital work Lighthouse does and the meaningful impact it has within our community.
All right, thank you very much, Krista, for the nomination and for the introduction. Got to say, going last is a little intimidating. You all have a very difficult job to do in voting, and it's inspiring actually hearing from the other charities as they share, because a lot of our participants and families, have journeyed through the Ronald McDonald House, and before they get to us at the end of their journey, and so thankful for the work that they do, and of course, many of our youth who access the Lighthouse are precariously housed and are struggling with housing. So Hamilton Housing Health. So great charities. But thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. And more importantly, thank you for the care that each of you brings into this room. The simple fact that you are here means that you believe in the power of community to make a difference. And that is exactly what the Lighthouse is built upon. As Krista said, my name is Jason Dockeray. I go by the pronouns he, him, and I have the privilege of serving as the Executive Director of the Lighthouse for Grieving Children and Families, a unique program across all of Canada. We're the only program, for instance, who support children under the age of 6, between 3 and 6 year old, who experience the death of a parent or sibling in our Tiny Tot program. Nobody else in Canada does that, and you have that program in your backyard. We often say we are the last place you ever want to be, but the best place to be if you find yourself in a situation where you've experienced the death of a parent or a sibling. At the Lighthouse, we walk alongside children, youth, and families who are grieving the death of a parent, sibling, or a close caregiver, and we do this in a very unique way. We don't try to fix their grief. We don't try to rush them through it. We don't put a timeline on it. Instead, we create safe spaces where children and families can connect with others who are going through a similar situation and truly understand what they're going through, so that no child has to grieve alone. And we do this completely free of charge. I want to share with you a story. A girl named Avery, if you want to change the slide there, joined our Tiny Tots program when she was just 4 years old. And one evening during an activity, she was drawing a picture. And she drew a picture of herself standing on one side of a bridge and her dad on the other. And between them was a string connecting the two of them. And as she was working on that art, she looked up and she said something that will stay with me the rest of my life. She said, "I don't think my dad's coming back over that bridge." In that moment, you could see her beginning to understand something incredibly heavy for any of us to understand, and certainly for a 4-year-old, that death is permanent, that someone she loves deeply isn't coming back. That is a moment no 4-year-old should have to carry alone, and Avery didn't because of the Lighthouse. She didn't have to. Because in that same room were other children who had experienced the death of their fathers, and caring adults and volunteers who knew how to sit with her in that moment, not trying to fix it, but to support her through it. Here's what we know at the Lighthouse. We know that 1 in 14 children will experience the death of a parent or sibling before the age of 18, which means my 13-year-old daughter in her class of 30 students at Winona Elementary School, at least 2 of those children in her class before they graduate high school will be carrying that kind of grief. And yet, grief is often invisible. It shows up as anxiety, addiction, withdrawal, acting out, difficulty in school, or deep loneliness. Without support from places like the Lighthouse, those impacts can last a lifetime. But with the right support, pure connection, safe expression, and caring adults, those same children can build resiliency, emotional intelligence, and hope. Not getting over their grief, but moving through it in healthy ways. That's what we see every day at the Lighthouse. Last year, I can change the slide. Last year, we supported over 400 children and youth and their families. and 73 of those youth from this community, specifically in Burlington. Families, on average, stay with us for 14 months, which is unique, as most grief groups across Canada are 4, 6, 8, maybe as many as 12-week programs. But again, our families stay with us for 14 months, so we know that those 12-week programs just aren't enough for most grieving children. Because grief doesn't follow a schedule, neither do we. But here's the reality: we receive no provincial or federal funding for this work. Every single program we offer is funded by the generosity of people like you. We raise over $1 million each year in this very generous community just to keep our doors open and our programs accessible and free. Again, so no child has to grieve alone and be told or say we cannot afford that support. So what does your support actually do tonight? Okay, if your group selects Lighthouse, your collective gift will go directly towards expanding programs so we can support more children like Avery. It will help us add new peer support groups that are already at capacity, expand access for diverse and underserved communities, and continue offering programs both in person and online. Will help us train and equip volunteers who make this work possible. And most importantly, it will ensure that when a child experiences one of the hardest moments in their life, unthinkable moments in their life, they don't have to face it alone. I often say this because it's at the heart of everything we do. Grief is not something to get over, it's something to grow around. And with the right support, growth is possible. So tonight I'm asking for your support, not just for our organization, but for the children and families in our community who are quietly carrying grief every single day. Children like Avery. So friends, your collective gift has the power to transform their experience from isolation to connection, from silence to expression, from surviving to thriving. Thank you for your time, your compassion, and the difference you are making in this wonderful community. Together, you can help us say yes to more grieving families, ensuring that no child has to grieve alone.